Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about AR verb conjugations or changes. Conjugation is basically means a change. Unfortunately, I came down with a pretty crazy fever and I'm still running it this evening on Sunday evening. And so I'm not going to be able to go to school because I think the rule is I have to be fever free for 24 hours and I'm not. So um, hopefully I'll be able to get back to school soon to see you guys. But in the meantime, I wanted to keep you rolling here. So we're going to talk about AR verbs. You should take notes on a piece of paper as you do this. All right. Um, the first thing I want to explain to you is that a verb in Spanish is like a flower. We've talked about infinitive verbs, and I told you when we were using me gusta that if you put a verb with it, it has to end in AR, ER, or IR. In fact, all Spanish verbs end in one of these three letter combinations. So, in English, we say, how do we tell if it's a verb? By if it has an action. Well, in Spanish, that's also true. They're action words, but also you can tell them by their endings when they're in their original forms. Now, the AR, ER, and IR are the original or the infinitive forms of the verbs, and we've covered a lot of them in class. I'll just name some. It says list them, but I'm just going to name them for you here. Some AR verbs you might know would be hablar, practicar, jugar, escuchar. ER verbs, ver, like in ver la tele, or comer. And IR verbs would include um, escribir, or ir by itself is a verb, like ir a la escuela, or vivir, to live. So all these different endings are used to create the verbs in Spanish. Now, as you can see my picture of the flower here, it has a petal and a stem. The ending, the ER, the AR, the IR is the ending or the petal, and that part can be removed from the verb, and what you're left with behind is the stem. So you can think of it like a flower, and the petals can fall off. Okay? So the AR in estudiar is going to be the ending on our verb, and the rest of it here is called the stem. Now, when we use verbs in whatever language, they can change based on the subject pronoun that's being matched with it. For example, if we took the verb to be, we don't say I be, you be, he be, we be. We say I am, you are, he is, etc. It changes every time for every person or subject pronoun. The same is true in Spanish. So we're going to take this AR and chop it off, and we're going to be left with the stem, which is estudi, or ESTUDI. Now this stem is going to be kept the same for all of our subject pronouns. As you can see, I have our chart. Oh my goodness, what was that? Um, the chart that we've been studying with our personal pronouns or our subject pronouns here. And I'm just going to put this stem of the verb in each, next to each one here on these lines. You have to ignore this smart notebook label. I can't get that off of there unless I'm actually hooked up to my smart notebook, and I'm not right now because I am doing this from home. All right, so now I put my stem next to each one of my subject pronouns, and then I'm going to add a different ending for each one. For the yo form, you add an O. For the to form, you add an AS. For all three of these, for the L form, the AF form, and the stat form, you do an A. For nosotros, and I didn't write nosotras on there, but it could also be nosotras here. It's almost. For vosotros or vosotras, the ending is ais, A-I-S. And for ellos, ellas and ustedes is on. So these endings here, o, as, a, vamos, ais, and on, can go on the end of any AR verb after you take the AR off. Again, remember you have to take this off first. But they can go on the end of any stem to create the form that's needed to say that person is doing it. So yo estudio means I'm studying or I study. To estudias means you study or you are studying. Remember, that's informal you. And then we have él estudia, which means he studies. Ella estudia, she studies. Usted estudia, you formal study or are studying. Nosotros or nosotras estudiamos, we study or we are studying. Vosotros or vosotras estudiáis, you all, informal, are studying. And this form is used primarily in Spain. It's not widely universal. And then ellos estudian, ellas estudian, all mean they study. And ustedes estudian, you all study. And ustedes estudian is formal and informal in Latin America and used just for the formal in Spain. So let's try another verb. Let me see how this works again. The next one I have here is hablar, and hablar means to speak or to talk. We'll put to talk. Okay. And the first step that we need to do is we need to chop off our AR and recognize that that's not going to be a part of our new forms. And then the second thing we need to do is identify the stem or the part or the letters that are left. And those are going to go for each form. And they're going to be the same. So we can just go ahead and plop those on in our little subject pronoun chart here. Because these do not change. The stem of the verb is the same for each one. It's just the ending that's going to change. We have to ignore this watermark here. Just as a pain, but this is what it is. Now I can put my ending on there, and I'm just going to switch colors to further distinguish it. For yo, it's always going to be O. So I'm just going to put a no in there. For two, it's always an as or an yes. For Ellie instead, it is a. Nosotros amos. Vosotros estáis. Has an accent there. And for ellos, ellas, and ustedes, it's on. So we get yo hablo, I talk. Tú hablas, you informal talk. Él habla, he talks. Ella habla, she talks. Usted habla, you formal talk. Nosotros hablamos, we talk. Vosotros habláis, you all, informal in Spain, talk. Ellos hablan, they talk. Ellas hablan, They, the feminine form, talk. And ustedes hablan. You all talk. All right, let's do this one more time. Doing what I just did, pause the video and see if you can write out all the forms for enseñar, which by the way means to teach, and then unpause the video and see how you did. So pause it now. Okay, hopefully you paused it. You're not just watching this, you're actually exercising your brain and practicing and checking your work. So for enseñar, we're going to take that same stem, which was the en, sen with the tilde, for each one. And then the ending is O, enseño, I teach, enseñas, you informal teach, él enseña, he teaches, ella enseña, she teaches, usted enseña, you all, or you formal teach, nosotros enseñamos, we teach, vosotros enseñáis, you all informal teach, remember informal is same, and then enseñan, they teach, or you all, formal and informal, teach. All right, so hopefully now you've learned how to conjugate verbs. The key ingredient here, just to review, is to drop this. That's one of the key mistakes I see students make, is they don't take the AR off before changing the endings. And then you can put the O, as, a, amos, ice, and on to match the subject pronoun that you're working with. So if I wanted to say he teaches, I'd say él enseña. If I wanted to say we talk, I'd say nosotros hablamos. If I wanted to say I study, I say yo estudio, etc. And now that you've watched this video, there should be a worksheet available for you from this step.